Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to mute
Um,
myself as well, unless you need me to just ask a question. If you need us to participate, I'll have people unmute themselves.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
There is one slide. I'll ask you to, I'll open up the floor to everybody. But whenever anybody has a question, just raise your hand, and I'll also I'll you can unmute yourself and I'll answer. So.
Perfect.
Well, thank you everybody for coming tonight. I love getting, because Chris and I have spent quite a bit of time together so far. So when I can extend our conversations to get to know more of the people that she and I talk about on our calls together, it's really rewarding for me. So I appreciate you all coming tonight. So I thought I'd share a little bit about what we're trying to do here. I thought I'd tell you a little bit about what Salesforce development does at Mary Kay and what working with Chris looks like. And then she had asked me to talk about team building, to focus on that a bit more. And it's high on her list of what she wants to do with your unit this year, as it is with most directors that I work with. And so I'd already kind of developed some things from prior meetings with other units. And I take the best ideas from that I hear from other directors, as well as those that I hear from Chris, and I've worked them into the slide deck. And then I'm going to ask you to think about the power of developing more regular skincare customers as opposed to occasional skincare customers in your customer circle. And then we'll finish up with a useful strategy that a lot of the units that I've been working with have been adopting at least as part of their strategy for them reaching their goals in this seminar year. So thought I'd tell you a little bit about my story. I graduated with a poli-sci degree, planning to go to law school, and I had no money to pay for my tuition. So I thought I should probably take at least a couple of years and make some money, and save it away so that I can afford to go to law school. So I went through career and placement, the career and placement department at the University of Utah, and they set me up for an interview with a publisher, which I thought, great. I love reading, I love writing. I love the idea of working for a publisher. This was higher education publishing, so it was selling textbooks to college professors and also selling books, journals, and databases to librarians. Well, I didn't understand that it was a sales job. I was completely sure that there was no way that I would be cut out for a sales job. And so I thought, but I should at least go for interview experience. So I did, and I made it to the final two. There were, they conducted 14 interviews at my campus, and I made it to the final two. And I thought, well, I should probably tell them at this point that I'm so flattered that they want to continue with me, but I have no interest of going into a sales job. And could they consider me for an editorial or marketing role? So the second interview, interestingly, was also a recruiting instrument that's also put together by the Gallup poll organization. And it was 50 questions. And if you used particular words or phrases in your answers, you got a point. And so out of the 50 questions, at the end, I found out that I scored a 48. And they told me that anybody that scores a 45 or above on this instrument goes on to have a successful sales career. I said, I can't believe a 50-question survey would tell you that I would be good at selling, because it scares me to bits. And so I took the job, and so my first day out, I was scared to death. My manager was with me for 5 days. And the first 2 days, he made all the calls on Wednesday and Thursday. He and I shared the calls. And on Friday, I was on my own. And that Friday was one of the scariest days of my life. But I got through it. And you know, that week turned into 2 weeks, into a month, into 6 months, and I ended up really loving the job because I love talking to, at that time I was only talking to professors, and I loved the idea of them telling me what they needed for their course, and for me to figure out which of the books that my company published would be the best match to what they were looking to do in their class. So I ended up in my first year having a 43% increase in my territory, and the national average was 5.6%. So I was rookie of the year, and I made $84,000 just coming out of college in the 80s. And I thought that's way more money than I can make as an attorney. So I gave up the idea of going to law school, and I pursued a career in selling. So that's what I did for my whole career. My last job before coming to Mary Kay, I was VP of sales for a independent company owned by a woman that had an amazing set of values. And I never thought, you know, after I left them, I moved to Dallas for personal reasons, and I switched, you know, I left my job at that point, and I really struggled to get another job in publishing because it doesn't exist in Dallas. And for the level that I was looking for, they wanted me to, you know, all the companies wanted me to live in their in the town where their corporate headquarters was. So I happen to know Sean Harper, who is on the executive team at Mary Kay Corporate. As I was lamenting one night to dinner, at dinner with he and his wife, that I just cannot get interviews. And he said, I can get you an interview at Mary Kay. And I said, what would I do at Mary Kay? Because the sales force is independent. And he said, there's a department called Salesforce Development, and you'd be perfect for it. And so I interviewed for it, and I got the job. And it's been one of the best jobs I've ever had. I love the Salesforce here. You all are so enthusiastic and positive, and the support that exists amongst the sales force members is unlike anything I've ever seen. I've worked for 5 other companies prior to Mary Kay, and never did I see a sales force like what I see at Mary Kay, just how everybody wants everybody to succeed, and there's plenty of opportunity for anybody that wants to go for it. So Chris and I have been working together for a few months, and she's talked with me about her best practices, your whole unit's best practices in different parts of the business, like lead generation and booking, and rebooking, and sharing the opportunity, and all those good things. And we just worked on completing a business plan together. You know, I said, Chris, there are probably 20 things you could focus on, but that's not focusing, you know, for next year. I want you to think about the 3 things that are really going to move the needle the most, and then you to focus your efforts in those, I call them buckets of activity. So I'll talk to you a bit about that. But Chris is a joy to work with, as you know, and I've really enjoyed our engagement together. So here's what Chris is hoping to accomplish this year. She wants to double the size of your unit. I mean, a bit more than that. She wants to get into the premier car, and she wants you to all be a $200,000 unit by the end of the year. And so her 3 buckets of activity to achieve those things are to develop 4 new key leaders in your unit, either getting to elite team leader or DIQ. And she's hoping to get 2 by the end of December and 2 by the end of April. And she's also hoping to increase your retail sales by doubling it over last year. And she wants to add 2 new consultants to her personal team, and hopefully advance 10 of her personal members at least to senior consultants. So a lot of you may have heard that there was quite a bit of change right after seminar. We knew about the change before seminar, but we decided let's not rock the boat because we already had, you know, roles and responsibilities for the seminar divisions as they were prior to the reorganization. But the day that we came back from seminar, this new organization took place. So as you know, Julia Wilson, after 31 years, she retired. She was one of my favorite bosses ever in my life because she was excellent, and she had so much institutional knowledge because she'd been there forever. And she had this irreverence about her that just made working with her a blast, so she was fun and she was effective, which is, you don't always get in the boss. So I was sorry to see her go. But Susan Johnson also retired, and Amy Moto left. And so there was an opportunity for Kelly to say, I want to really switch things up because this is my opportunity. We've got some people leaving, and I want to promote some people in the department. So it used to be that, Julia only had Bess, Detter, and me reporting into her. And I always thought that was a waste of Julia's talent, because if she's such a strong supervisor, why does she only have 2 people reporting into her? And I think Kelly saw the same thing. So she limited the number of directors to Luz, who used to manage the Latina team, and then Mike Strong, who's been around forever, and he was primarily managing Diamond before. And they asked Luz to take on Emerald and Sapphire, and for Mike to manage Stacy and Diamond and Ruby. And this is given this new. So Luz has these great meetings now with all let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of us.
I'm like, down right now, so I can't imagine being more.
Trina, could you mute? Okay, and so Jay is my boss now, and he's been with the company, I think, just shy of 20 years. And he's phenomenal. He also, because he's been around in a couple different departments, he's really knowledgeable. And whenever Julia was out of the office, I would always go to Jay for the answer. So I love reporting into Jay. As you get to know him, you'll understand why he is so strong. So, and then within our seminar, we also have Sonia. So they disbanded the Latina group, and they have now one Spanish-speaking member within each of the divisions, so that the Spanish-speaking sales force feels more integrated into each of the divisions. I can pause here if there are any questions about this slide. I mean, you probably kind of all figured this out by now, but Michael remains in charge of DIQ and national and the NSD, and then Jennifer is the support manager, and then Delia is in charge of the Mary Kay national area. Salesforce development, just overall policy for you all. So I thought I'd start off with talking a little bit about, one of Chris's key objectives for the year, which is to double the size of the unit and to give you all some encouragement and some motivation to also think about building up your personal teams this year. So I'll walk you through some sample commissions that you can make as you go up the career path. Talk about what are the requirements now to earn your first career car, and then I'll just give you a reminder about the various corporate rewards that are in place. So I thought before I would go into the scenarios of commissions, I would just give you a quick reminder. I know you all are familiar with the marketing plan, but just a quick reminder. So to get to Star Team Builder, the first red jacket, you need to have 3 or 4 active personal team members, and then you can earn 4%, 6%, and 8% on your personal and your personal team members' sales. So 4% if between 0 and 1,000, 6% between 1,000 and 1,800, and 8% for if your personal and personal team members' sales are over $1,800 for the month. And then for team leader and elite team leader, as of October 1, you may have seen this, that you used to be able to qualify for elite team leader in 2 ways. One of which was to have 5 active personal team members, one of which was a red jacket. And but there were so few people that qualified for elite team leader with that method that they just decided to simplify it And now, in order to become an elite team leader effective October 1st, you have to have 8 personal team members. But you earn a 9% commission when you have 5 or more personal team members, and then you earn a 13% commission when you have 5 or more personal team members, and your personal retail sales are $600 or more. Okay. So here are the 3 compensation scenarios I alluded to. So let's take an independent beauty consultant. If she sells $600 a month wholesale on the average, she earns $7,200 a year in profit. Moving up to senior independent beauty consultant, if she has 2 personal team members, one who also sells on the average $600 a month and another who does $225, that bumps her up to 75, just shy of $7,600. But then if you go all the way up to elite team leader, most of our elite team leaders are selling about $2,000 a month wholesale personally. So if she's personally doing that, and she has 4 selling 600 on the average and 4 selling 225 on the average, she moves all the way up to over $29,000 a year in profit and commissions. So, I know there's so much prestige that comes to being able to wear your red jacket at company events and knowing that you've achieved that. But I always say to people, so congratulations that you got to team builder, but why would you stop there? Continue. Because Chris is going to do a lot of the heavy lifting. Just because you're building your personal team doesn't mean that you're going to have to spend, an inordinate amount of time doing the onboarding and the training to get everybody up to speed and the weekly meetings. That falls on Chris's shoulders. So basically, even if your skills around a share conversation aren't where they need to be, you can always get them in front of Chris, and Chris can run the share conversation or share it with you, so you can increase your hit rate. And just remember, most people say no to the opportunity between 5 and 7 times before they sign their agreement. So just keep after those people. That I have talked to so many people in our sales force that said, the woman who is my senior today, she just would not stop. And I kept telling her no, no, no. And then one time I was at a point in my life where I really needed it, and I said yes. And then I wondered, why did I say no all those times? I've heard that story over and over again. So my challenge to you, or my plea, is just be diligent. Just never stop. Keep all these names. Keep track of everybody and how many times you've shared the opportunity with them, and what their reaction was, why they, what was their objection, why did they say no at that time, because you can use that information the next time. So maybe you decide your follow-up cadence is every 3 weeks. Maybe you decide it's every, you're going to call them back after the first no a week later, just to say, can you please rethink this? But just think about a strategy for turning those no's into yeses, because it happens so often. Now, there are some people for whom the opportunity just is not right for one reason or the other, and you're going to have some no's that stay no's, but you are definitely going to have no's that turn into yeses for sure. So just stick with those people. So additional corporate incentives, everybody gets the $50 team building cash bonus for each new Great Start qualified consultant, but you get to wear the red jacket, you get to attend all the company events that are intended for red jackets and above, and you get the Star Team Builder pin enhancer. So this is where I wanted to open things up to the floor and just see, for some of you who may never have, shared the opportunity with somebody, or you've tried it and it just wasn't your cup of tea, or you got shut down. Can anybody share with me what might be preventing you from doing more team building than what you're currently doing, or what are some objections that you've heard in share conversations? So feel free to unmute and let me know. Chris, why don't you kick us off and tell us what you think are some of the things when you're helping your unit members, improve their team building skills and keep plugging away. What are some of the common pitfalls or challenges that your unit members have in getting somebody to sign an agreement?
I would say probably the number one thing that always comes to mind to me, and the first thing would be is I'm not the sales type. That's one of the number one things I hear when I'm recruiting. Is that what you're asking? What object?
Yeah, and you heard in my story, I said no.
Yeah.
And then I found out that I was a sales type. So
Yeah.
that's a good one.
Yeah. And I did too. I mean, when I became a consultant, it's been 27 years ago, but I was like, I have a college degree, so I'm going to sell lipsticks. But I didn't know the full marketing plan. Once the full marketing plan was shown with, and then I went, oh, there's opportunities for advancement. So yeah, but I think the number one thing here is I'm just not the sales type. I can't do what you do, kind of a thing.
And that's so important. The opportunity that Mary Kay created is unlike, I don't know what happens in other direct sales companies, but this was never part of my career in the traditional selling market, where, every time a position would open, there were 50 people that wanted to go for that promotion, and only one was selected. And you had to put in a lot of work to even get on the list to be, your sales could be through the roof, but unless you did, 20 other things to get noticed by the person hiring for the position, you would get looked over. Whereas here, as long as you meet the requirements, it's mainly production of moving up and adding people. It's the opportunity to move all the way up to national sales director is unlimited,
Exactly.
So that is an important thing that you should all remember, is you're not just selling lipsticks. You are able to change the lives of everybody that really needs opportunity in their life, and how exciting that can be. And I hear so many poignant stories from Salesforce members who really were downtrodden and felt like they would have to survive for the rest of their lives on $35,000 a year. And now they're, successful sales directors making north of 100. And why, so I just think it's so important that we all, I share the opportunity. I turn people over to local consultants for people that I can get interested. Right now I'm working on my step siblings, because all of them need the Mary Kay opportunity in their lives. And every time I go to Salt Lake, I have another conversation with them, because I know it would be a game changer for them. Anybody else?
I'll just say how I started, David.
Yeah.
This is Vicky. And I started just for half off shopping, and I took care of my sisters for a year. And then what drew me then into doing Mary Kay full time was I lost my job after 18 and a half years.
Wow.
So then I needed something. And I had already been in for a year, so I already knew what the possibilities were. And that was something that I was going to then do and pursue full time. But I know, just for, I can speak for some of my team members on here, they literally have started for the same reason that I did. And they take care of a few people. So I think we always have to be mindful too that team building isn't for everyone. It's not something that, they want to do, and that we need all of them, every aspect of how they want to run their businesses. And so I'm really mindful of that for my team, for my team members and things too. But I'm glad that I did it. I'm glad that I am working full time and that I've worked for full time for 9 years because of these women that I get to be in their space. So, yeah, it's great if that's what you want to do. And then I do have some team members who are moving in that direction after a few years of taking care of themselves and a few people. So I think it's great that we have choices, number one, and that we can pick it up and do something different with it than what we expected to do. Because this was not something that I didn't even have a skincare regimen or wear makeup when I started 10 years ago. So it certainly wasn't anything on my radar. So yeah.
So I think the moral to that story is never look away from somebody who just wants to come in and get the personal discount, because there are so many people that did it to do that, and then they see the dream of what they could do with the opportunity, and they start working their business. But I also, for the directors that I work with, I say complement that work of getting people that just sign on for their personal discount with intentional, going after people that are going to come in and really work their business, because you want people that are really just going to move the needle quickly, not take a year or two for them to come to the realization, gosh, I should do something more than personal discount with this business. I should make more of it. So if you can find people that really need the money financially, maybe they've hit the ceiling in their day job on how much money they could make, or they've had a change in their family and they've got more kids to feed, or whatever it is, or it could be people in between jobs like Vicky, and how important that opportunity can be for somebody who needs to make money overnight. So so some of the things that I've heard are, I don't yet have the skill set to run to run a successful share conversation. Oh, I also wanted to mention that Mary Jo said that sometimes she struggles to get people who said that they wanted to hear the share conversation, they wanted to hear about the opportunity, and then they don't keep their appointment. So that, and you can brainstorm some ways to what can I do differently, in the next time I set up a booking for a share conversation, to increase my chances that she's actually going to show up. So, but I'll talk with you in a little bit about just a reminder of all the things that are on In Touch that can help you build up your team building strengths yourself. I get nervous asking my friends and family to join because I don't want them to feel like I'm twisting their arm or do me a favor. I'm afraid of adding too much more onto my plate. How can I do Mary Kay on top of my day job? Or I don't know who I would go to about sharing the opportunity. I mean, these are common things that I hear when I ask that same question to the directors with whom I work. So, but if there are some things like you want to do more team building and you tried it and you just haven't gotten the outcome that you were hoping for, talk with your director, and you can brainstorm together on how can you change your team building activity so that you have more success. So here is a model strategy that many of my directors have either picked up completely or they picked up one of these things. But the first one is thinking about getting on target for your first career car. Like if you think about, if you do have a car payment, think about how much you're spending on that and your insurance, and think about what would you do if you didn't have to pay that every month? How would you prioritize that money, and how important would that be of a change in your life? So right now, to qualify for the share tracks, you need to build your personal team size to 8 and become an elite team leader And you then need to build your team's monthly production to an average of 6,000 wholesale a month, which is, that might sound daunting, but when it's divided by the 9 of you, it's very doable. And, you know, there could be 2 people that are in your unit that are driving a lot of that production. So it's not insurmountable at all. It happens all the time. And just think about, you know, just dream a little bit about how great that would be to have your, you know, not have any car payment again. The next one is idea that came out of the Latina group in one of our internal meetings, and they had this grid put together that showed the power of what if you were to develop 30 regular skincare customers. And by this I mean, typically, like, I buy a new skincare set every 3 months, so I use it religiously. I use it at least twice a day, if not 3 times a day, if I take a shower in the middle of the day. And so if the retail price for, I picked the most expensive set, but the time wise repair is $215, and then retail. And then if you upsell the retinol set for $120, and then you get them interested in a couple of the boosters, that brings you all the way up to $411 for their purchase every time they need to re-up their skincare. So then if you were to develop 30 regular skincare customers, that would be $12,330. And then if they bought in retail, so if they buy twice a year, you know, that's $24,660 retail, but then you profit the half of that, the $12,330. So, you know, I'm not saying it's easy to nurture these 30 regular skincare customers, but I have a number of my directors that this is a key focus of their business plan for this year, is just getting every unit member to say, I want to get to 10, I want to get to 30, I have 30, I want to get to 50. You know, just keeping your eye on this, because for me, I'm so religious about skincare now. I used a bar of soap before I came to Mary Kay. And so now I can't imagine not doing it on a daily basis, twice a day. And I go reorder whenever I need it. And so it becomes somewhat of a self-service. I mean, you have to, you know, pour love on these customers from time to time and, you know, show them your appreciation. But I think there are ways that, you know, you can come up with a plan. What do I do 2 days after they buy their first set, 2 weeks after they buy their first set, and 2 months after they buy their first set, to get them, to turn them from, oh, you know, I used it a couple times this week, to, yeah, I'm like David, I'm using it twice a day, 7 days a week. So, and for me, it was seeing all the emeriti at seminar, who I know their age, and they look 20 years younger than their age. So I thought, I've got to get on that bandwagon. I grew up in you know, very sunny Salt Lake, and I had a lot of skin damage. So I'm doing all that I can to reverse that now. And then there's this idea of the each one reach one appeal. It's kind of like what I was talking before with my step siblings. I know that if they brought Mary Kay into their lives, it would be such a game changer for their families. So, you know, Mary Kay asked us all to pass it on. She created this amazing opportunity for all of us. And so just, even if you have no interest in moving up the career path, could you all think of one person to approach in your life that you just know, you know them well enough. It's not, maybe it's a really close friend or a family member, not necessarily a customer, who really, really needs the opportunity, and then trying to, you know, make sure that they understand what the opportunity could do for their lives and the unlimited advancement they could get in their compensation. So a reminder of the things that are on InTouch. So if you go into InTouch under education on the top navigation bar, and then you go into how to team build, this is where all this stuff is. So there are the It Just Fits videos that you've seen by now. I would encourage you all to I think there are 13 or 14 of them now. So go through them all, and they're short. They're 2 or 3 minutes each, but just get familiar with them and pick out 1 or 2 that really resonate with you, or you think that would resonate with your typical prospect for a share conversation. Because then you can be more passionate as you're talking. You might share a need that person had before they joined the sales force. Then there's you're probably familiar with the team building flyer. It's the 2-pager. So they just revised it. It used to be the It Just Fits flyer. And I think it was sometime last year they revised it based upon customer feedback. So they did focus groups with potential candidates for the share conversation, and they talked about the same benefit of the Mary Kay opportunity, but they phrased it slightly differently. And so the focus group members had these devices, and they could turn up the dial if what was being said really resonated with them, or they could turn down the dial if it wasn't resonating with them. And so the verbiage that you now see on the front page of the team building flyer includes all of those words that came up the highest, that got the most interest in the focus groups. The second benefit, which has to do with empowering women and just giving them more confidence and helping women understand that they can really achieve something great. That was downplayed in the prior version, and that was one of the most important things that came out of the research. Was women really loved that second benefit that's listed on the flyer. Then you may not be familiar. A lot of people use just the team building flyer. So it has the 4 benefits. It has A, B, or C. Are you definitely interested in the opportunity? Do you want a follow-up conversation to discuss the opportunity? Or C, not at this time, but talk to me about it in the future. So, and then on the back, it's the 3 startup options. So that seems to do the trick for a lot of classes or the first meeting that you might have with somebody. But if you get them interested, then you can go into the playbook that is 12 pages long, and it talks about the same benefits that the team building flyer does, but it has links to the It Just Fits videos. It has other links to things on InTouch that you can use to enhance your presentation, and it's just something different for your customer to look at than what they saw in the party or the first meeting. There's a flyer on how to best use the team building playbook. There are email for your email campaigns based around recruiting, and just make sure that you know what's there. Then there are 6 most important follow-up tips for what happens after your first presentation of the share conversation. What are the 6 most important things you should do? And it gives you an idea of in what time frame you should do it. And then there's a section on there about the startup options, and we've just recently changed them. So just make sure that you're up to speed on that. And then if you just go to the public facing Mary Kay website, the Sell Mary Kay tab on the marykay.com website has additional stuff that's presented slightly differently. But I think it's nice, if you feel like, I'm familiar with all this stuff. I'd like to see more about what the corporate website has to say about, what we feel are the benefits of selling Mary Kay. It can complement what's already on InTouch. So that's mainly what I wanted to cover tonight. I wondered if any of you had any questions for me about the company, anything. And if I don't know the answers, I will find out tomorrow and get back to Chris, and she can relay the answers to you. But does anybody have any questions?
David, this is Linda, and I'm wondering, do you have any feedback statistics on the use of the preferred customer program with individual customer bases. Do you have any numbers on that?
I'm sure I can get them. What you're wanting to know if you invest in the program, what's going to be the outcome?
I'd like to be able to tell my unit members what the benefits of going to that trouble of doing that is. I
Okay.
have some that are very faithful, but I have some who don't see the value, and I'd like to be able to give them some statistics on that.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else have any questions or anything related to what he was talking about? Vicky, do you have anything that has been coming up that you would like to, and I know just to tell, I mean, a lot of you I haven't actually met because they've, during the COVID times, we didn't get to meet people very well. But just to give you guys a quick heads up on how, when I started 27 years ago, my kids were 3 months and 3 years old. And I was really just looking for something else that I could do from home and raise my own kids without having to put them in a daycare or anything like that. So that was my situation when I started. I had no idea really what what was available to me. But at that time, I thought, hey, if I can stay home and take care of my kids and still have a business and keep myself a little bit sane by being able to leave the house once in a while, that would be awesome. And then it went to CAR, and then I had Hodgkin's lymphoma about right after I became a sales director. I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma and went through cancer treatments for, I think it was 6 months right after I became a sales director. But I have to tell you, Mary Kay really has, I don't know how many times it's saved my life. Kept me sane when I had little kids, kept me focused on something else when I was going through those treatments. And then my kids are now 30. Oh my gosh, how did that happen? A 30-year-old and a 27-year-old, 26-year-old. And my parents live with me, and they have for 2.5 years. And once again, the flexibility, the something else, very positive, these great women we get to work with, not just our customers, but you guys, help through all of those things and help on a different focus. So when I started, I didn't really even know what I was looking for. Like Vicky said, I started for personal use as well, but I was also looking for something else. I was just using mascara and the Day Radiance foundation. That's it. And when I don't know, I think it was at least 4, maybe 5 times before, like you said, David, I was like, heck no, are you kidding me? And then it was, well, and then when the situation became right for me, I'm like, yes. And then learned more by becoming involved in the things that Mary Kay corporate, as well as the local and the meetings, the trainings, and now we've got all this virtual stuff. When I started, just like Linda, we didn't have Mary Kay in touch. We had a phone, and you went to your unit meeting, and that was the only way you found out anything. So you never know what life can bring you over the years, but I know for a fact that one of my best things, besides the product, are the amazing women that we get to work with. And I mean, it's truly been, I don't know. I don't even know how I would have done anything without it. And it also made me more focused, because Nan Stroud used to be my national sales director. And she's the one who told me about Bible studies, and start getting involved with that. So I can honestly say my life has totally been changed for my kids, for my husband, for everybody. So you just never know how great Mary Kay can be. So anyway.
I think the stories that you, Chris, and Vicky shared are perfect story. Like I think of sharing the opportunity as, think of 4 or 5 stories you can tell that are different. That, so go into each of the benefits and then personalize it and think of, there was a time in my life where I really needed the flexibility. I mean, that's always the number one benefit, is people saying, wow, I can continue to, work my day job, but I could certainly work a side business, say 5-10 hours a week, and I could have all this additional income, or build this network of friends, or have this very supportive atmosphere that I don't have at my day job. But try to, if you think, okay, this is the third time I'm calling the same person about the opportunity, how can I switch it up? Start thinking about, what are your 5 stories, and internalize them, and you'll be passionate about them because they changed your life. Chris, you're muted.
Anybody else have any questions for David, or any comments, anything you want to add?
I don't have any more questions. I might, as time goes on, but I just did want to thank you, David, for your time, and for sharing with us, what is possible,
Mm-hmm.
and what we can do, with the business, no matter how we want to work it. So thank you so much for your time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to be here, and I appreciate your just showing up, and your interest, and I just want to wish you all the best. I was happy to be here, and I will do it anytime. But always feel free to pick up the phone and talk to one of us in Salesforce development, or funnel your questions through your director, and we'll be sure to get back to you. I see one more item came into the chat box. Oh, thank you. Of course.
Yes, we do. I thank you so much for taking the time to come on tonight, and if everybody wants to, it's up to you, David, if you want to hang around, but I'm going to keep them on just for a few more minutes for another drawing, and if they have anything that they want to add to it. So
I will sign off, Chris, because I have to get to a dinner, but
I figured you needed to go.
yeah.
I appreciate it, though, and I'll be following up with you, and we'll be talking to you soon. Thanks so much.
Sounds good. Take care. Bye.
Bye. All right, I did. Let's see, the recording ended, correct? Nope.